Hello and welcome to Lords of the Sith. I'm Mary and I'm here with Denise.
Hello everybody!
And today we'll be talking about the exciting Empire magazine coverage of the Rise of Skywalker, along with some other new exciting stuff that's just been released with Triple Force Friday. So Denise, let's start with the Empire magazine. What were your thoughts?
Well, the photos are beautiful. That cover is gorgeous. Again, we have Rey and Kylo. So, if people are wondering who the protagonists are, what the story is about, there you are. And you have the interview with Terrio. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. And Terrio and with JJ. That's very illuminating, right? Did you see the light? I hope it's illuminating. I hope people see the light. I hope. But if they don't, that's not my fault.
I will, if you don't mind me saying, I will start off with this. I'm going to say a quote from Terrio. Again, like Denise, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But this is what stood out to me most when he said this. Some of the most interesting scenes in The Last Jedi are the conversations between Rey and Ren. We tried to pick that complicated relationship that has really been present ever since the interrogation scene in Episode 7. When Ren takes off his mask, there's a nakedness about him with Rey that he doesn't express to anyone else. It's so important that he said that, because it not only shows that Rey and Kylo's connection has been important since that scene, but it also, if anyone has been a Reylo shipper since 2015, early 2016, you all remember how people treated us over that scene. People said it was an abuse allegorically. They said all sorts of horrible stuff about it, and to us as well for seeing that their connection in that scene. I know Martin debunked that whole story about how JJ showed the film to someone's dying relative, and that JJ agreed that it was quote-unquote a mind rape. Mm-hmm. Well, even without Martin debunking it, this would have debunked it for sure. Because, like I said, it's so important that Chris said it, because it not only invalidates all those nasty things that people said about Reylos for noticing something in that scene, but it also validates what JJ's true intentions were, and that, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, was for Kylo to sympathise with someone who he feels shares his sense of loneliness, for Rey to discover her newfound powers, and it was the start to forge their connection and their status as equals.
I agree. Even if you read the script, it says that they have that connection, that moment. It will be horrible if they made, a beautiful moment of connection during, what people have been calling. So I agree. It has been there since then, and I agree with you that it validates. And also some people thought that Rey and Kylo as a romantic thing was Rian Johnson's crazy stuff. It wasn't JJ's intention. It wasn't there, and here we have JJ's co-writer validating that it started at that moment. Again, like you, debunks all these theories that it was about. Never mind.
Yeah, let's not mention those words again.
And it really clarifies, and also it's about continuity. I love that idea of the nakedness in the sense that he's vulnerable, that he shows vulnerability in it, which is true, and also that we see that there's this continuation in this relationship, and it's something that has been continuing, right? There was another interview where JJ said that the main relationships were kept in The Last Jedi, and I think that's a little bit what he was talking about. But I do agree that it's very nice to hear in the co-writer's words that's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just breathed I don't know, it's hard to put into words how I felt when I read, that quote, because, as I said, it wasn't a very pleasant time to be a Reylo back in the early days, pre-TFA, post TFA, pre-TLJ, and this is just, it made me so happy. So thank you, Chris Terrio, for that. It was really, really cool.
It was cool. And also something that I read in the interview is that it was JJ, I think, that he was talking about honoring what came before. And I think it's really cool. In a way, I think he has been distancing himself from The Last Jedi. And I guess he gives us an idea that, no, this is going to be different. We're going to go back to the Star Wars you know and love. But at the same time, he's saying that he honors TLJ. But, you know, like I said before, basically they want everyone's money. Did you hate The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
We want your money. Did you love it? We want your money. Come.
Yeah, we want our cake and to eat it too. That's basically what they're saying.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good to say, to stand by it and say, no, we're going to continue it and honor it. And so, and that is in relation to Reylo is also reassuring, right? That we have it's something that's gonna continue. This is important because we've had some quote-unquote leaks that we did not address because they're a little stupid, you know, that completely ignore the relationship. And even if and that's why they're a bunch of yarn, because even if you say no, it's not gonna be Reylo, they have to acknowledge it. Rey has to go, and I don't know, Rey goes and looks at him and say, I don't want you, you're a jerk, whatever. It has to be acknowledged. In real life, you can put things away and pretend it never happened, you know. In a movie, something so important, so central to the plot has to be at least acknowledged if they decided not to move on with it, which I don't think is the case.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of what, you know, people thought about The Last Jedi, it's clear that he wants, like you said, he wants to honor what Ryan did, even if he would have done it differently. He says that in the interview, but he's continuing the main relationships, which is Rey and Kylo, and I'm very happy with that. I couldn't ask for anything more. So this interview has made me very, very excited for the episode 9. I also want to touch, it's not just with Empire Magazine, but with the marketing for Rise of Skywalker in general. It's been very pro Reylo from the word get-go when they first released that teaser and the title in Celebration. I mean, the setting up an enemies to lovers / will they won't they kind of marketing, and personally I think it's the right way to go. I think Lucasfilm have hopefully learnt from their mistakes from the way they've marketed the previous 2 films, because like with The Force Awakens, they marketed Finn as the hero, with him, Rey and Poe as the new trio, and I think it gave the audience, both fans and in general, false expectations and hopes about certain characters that stuck with them even after seeing the film. And if I'm being honest, I really think it damaged the way people viewed them. And then of course, with The Last Jedi, the marketing was all Rey and Luke, Rey and Luke, Rey and Luke, what's going to happen with Rey and Luke? Again, giving people the wrong impression and feeling more Rey Walker before realising, a lot of people aren't getting that the important relationship is Rey and Kylo, so oh my god, we better change it. And they did very, very late in September 2017 with that Entertainment Weekly issue. Mm-hmm. Can you remember we did an episode on that with Star Wars Connection?
And then they had a few things with their clothes on the floor. They had a few things with marketing and stuff. And at the end, when we were getting very close, it started getting pro Reylo. But before, it was really Rey and Luke. Rook. Yeah, I wasn't Rey Skywalker. I was thinking Rook. I think, young woman from the master. I'm just kidding. But yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Even though the Last Jedi pro Reylo marketing was very late, I think it luckily worked, as Rey and Kylo's relationship was by far the most popular thing to come out of The Last Jedi. People loved it. It woke people up to it, and it even changed some minds about it. So I dread to think what would have happened if they hadn't switched it at the last minute.
Yeah, but maybe the movie would have stood on its own, but I think it would have been jarring. I know that for The Force Awakens, lots of people came out disappointed with Finn, for example, and I think the idea was to have the surprise that Rey is the Jedi, which all the Star Wars fans knew that it was her because it was obvious, but it was also the surprise about her love interest. For those of us who got it, it was really cool. It was a really cool experience. But for the people who didn't get it, it was weird. And I think after The Force Awakens, when people started Reylo, I think they could have debunked certain things. They could have made the trajectory easier for us, but it's okay that they didn't do it. I mean, it's not okay, but yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't know.
It's been a long and difficult journey, we'll say that much. Yeah. And that journey is not yet over yet, so I don't want to be putting words in my mouth. But in some ways, I think, you know what, I think they could have done, you know, like a pro Reylo marketing from the word get-go with The Force Awakens. They could have built up this strange connection between the heroine and the villain. But they didn't do that, which, fair enough, at least they've learned from those lessons and are doing it now. From the word get-go for the Rise of Skywalker, they're not just doing, oh, you know, they're enemies and that's it. They're thankfully doing will they, won't they, enemies to lovers marketing. Because if you look back at all the stuff, you know, J.J. Abrams has called it complicated, Kathleen Kennedy has called it very, very complicated. You know, it's all there. It's all there. So, good. I'm happy. It was the right thing to do.
I'm looking forward to see how it's going to be explored. Oh, you know what I was thinking? This is completely off topic. The Rey's lightsaber. I don't know how it took so long to realize that. You know, like when with The Last Jedi that we have the cave that's a hole and stuff. And the lightsaber that opens it. I think JJ is trying to do his own. He's trying to do his own feminine thing. So her lightsaber represents, you know what I'm saying? And so he wanted to give her one that is not phallic. That's the opposite. Yeah, whatever. And I was thinking about that. And it's completely off topic, but then I was like, oh, that's why he did it. I know there's the Clone Wars character that has that kind of lightsaber, but I think the idea was and it's red, and she opens it. I mean, yeah, you know.
Oh, now I get what you're saying. I thought you were talking about the Skywalker lightsaber being broken, but now I get it.
I was talking about, I'm sorry, I should have clarified. It's the red lightsaber. I came in it so weird. Oh my god. It's weird how we have difficulty saying certain things. Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing that struck me in the article was this quote. It said, Ren's temptation by the light, like Rey's temptation by the dark, forms the spine of a moral ambiguity, that Johnson built on 8 and very much carries over to 9. Now, I am very happy about this because if you've watched any of our other episodes, I think they missed a huge opportunity with Rey's character in episode 9. I really, really wanted her to explore
in 8
more. Sorry?
In episode 8, they missed an opportunity.
Yes, 8. Oh, sorry, I'm tired, guys. Yes, I wanted her to explore her darkness more and struggle with her powers and her connection with Kylo Ren in a way. And we didn't get that, which I would have been fine with if I felt that they had explored Rey's character a bit more, you know, as an individual character. And I personally felt like they didn't. I think she existed just to move Luke's story arc along. So with this, I know it's pretty late in the game, but this gives me hope that Rey will have her own story arc in episode 9, where, you know, struggling with the dark side and maybe even struggling, you know, with Palpatine. Maybe Palpatine has a bad influence on her.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, and even with her family, I mean, I know they said they might explore a bit more of that. So, you know, I'm cool with whatever. I just want Rey to have her own story arc. and well, when I say story arc, I mean struggles. So, if that's what this means, then sign me up.
Yeah, it's funny. The interview, it mentions the principle of Chekhov's gun, which actually the principle means that he wrote it that you shouldn't put things that are unnecessary. But basically, people say if you show a gun on the first act, you have to fire it on the third act. I agree with it now in the terms of audience expectations, right? If you show a gun in the first act and you know, you say, what's gonna happen with it, right? So, and I think now, and they mentioned it about the Knights of Ren, because they are gonna show up. That's another great point. But I think Rey's parentage is a case of that. So much is done about it in the first one. We need, like, we had a little bit of a resolution. We need a resolution. They can be drunk people who left her, but it has to have an emotional impact and like a closure, I think. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, one thing I would like, what if like Rey went full dark side, well, not full dark side, but got angry when they were abandoning her and accidentally killed them using the Force. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. And then she's in denial. It's a little dark, though. I don't know.
It is a little dark, but I think it works, especially if they were drunk people who left her behind.
Yeah, and or something that, or at least something that has some kind of, that she needs to come to some kind of closure and change. She had a little bit of it, right, in The Last Jedi, when she had to realize that there weren't anybody important and they weren't gonna come back. So that was a good step, but just some round up and get some closure. But I do hope they do that, and it's Chekhov's gun, guys.
Yes, I agree. What do you think of the, is there any other quotes that you want to dive into?
Well, just the Knights of Ren, that they're gonna be there, and I'm super excited to see them. And they look, oh, there's a picture of them, and they look amazing, and it's gonna be nice.
Yeah, it's nice to see them after them being absent in the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that this is for those quote unquote leaks. That's another point that they're not true, because there's barely any Knights of Ren in it, right? So, ta-da.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I love the fact that they've kept you know, the original costumes from like both The Force Awakens and the concept art that we saw them in. I think it's a really, like, I know it's not important, but I think it's a really neat addition.
I think you know, it's fun to have things that look cool. But you know, in a way, I also think that it has to do with Kylo, because he's introduced as the master of the Knights of Ren. So again, first it raises curiosity. Second, what is his relationship with them? Who are them? And also he has his fall, his seduction by Snoke, and these people, they're gonna play a part in it, or they have played a part, which is interesting, and they can, you know, it can bounce off his things more and move the plot and have, you know, I think they can be really used well. And also it's neat, like, we didn't see it now, it's neat that the mask, Vader's mask, is coming back too. But it just shows that I think these things are gonna be used again, and it's important that they're not just left behind.
Speaking of masks, there's a really good quote by, I think, I can't tell if it's by JJ or by Terrio, but it says, having, you know, oh yeah, it's J.J. Abrams. Although it says here, although Abrams expands, reuniting Kylo with his mask is about more than just sinister anesthetics. Having him be masked but also fractured is a very intentional thing, like that classic Japanese process of taking ceramics, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that, and repairing them. Ceramics, thank you. And repairing them, and how the breaks, in a way, define the beauty of the piece as much as the original itself. As fractured as Ren is, the mask becomes a visual representation of that. There's something about this that tells his history. His mask doesn't ultimately hide him, and his behaviour is revealed. Yes. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's pretty much what we've been saying. Remember when we first saw the news about the mask and we were excited? We said, "Oh, this is actually really cool. It represents how he's broken, and you know, it's really nice because it can do some visual representation, and it's really pretty much in line with everything that we've been saying." What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I think it's just a visual representation of his you know, facade, like his dark side, like Kylo Ren is basically cracking and dying, and Ben Solo is coming through. Essentially, I think it's a big. Can I say spoiler? Maybe not spoiler, but it pretty much says that he's going to be redeemed. That Ben Solo is going to come back, and
I would say foreshadowing, maybe foreshadowing. Yeah,
foreshadowing is the right word. I think.
Foreshadowing is spoilery. It should be a little bit spoilery. Yeah. So I think so too, and I think the mask looks cool too. So and I think he can do lots of things. Although I did like in The Last Jedi, it was well used the way he broke it and everything. I liked it as well, and it's nice to see him without him, but. Yeah, it's nice to see him with the mask as well, because there's so much physical acting, right? Which is really great too.
I don't think the mask is going to stay on very long.
No.
I think they're just marketing the hell out of it because they want to sell cool toys to the kids.
And they're cool. Come on.
They are very cool.
They're gonna sell so many action figures with those Knights of Ren. Come on, they left money on the table by not bringing them on.
Anything else about the article? Should we go through the pictures?
About the article, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
What do you think of the pictures?
Oh, there's that picture of Kylo in that it's a space. What place is it with those troopers? And he looks very fierce, and it's really cool. And I'm excited to know which moment that is, but I'm trying not to speculate too much.
I'm gonna do some speculating. I think it's. Remember back to the D23 trailer when those Empire starships come in that lightning storm? I think it's that point. I think it could be the fact that there's I don't know, maybe Palpatine or the spirit of Palpatine attacks the ship. I think that'll be really cool, and the stormtroopers get blasted back, but Ben holds on with his force powers. It'll be epic. But I could be totally wrong. Like I've seen some people speculate that it's Rey escaping on the Millennium Falcon. Could be. I don't think it will be.
Yeah, but why are the thing is, why are the stormtroopers, like you said, blasted and he's holding on? That's a very good description. And she wouldn't be doing this, you know. I hope she doesn't get that powerful. I mean, I don't think they're gonna do that. Imagine she blasts everybody.
I think they meant the blast from the ship, like going into hyperspace.
Oh, come on. Oh. But why is she escaping? They're saying she's escaping in the Millennium Falcon because they're based on that crack plot, quote unquote leak. I wouldn't base anything on it because there's so many problems with it. We can comment about it at the end.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's part of that lightning storm battle. Maybe it could even be, you know, the First Order, you know, Kylo's fraction of the First Order versus the First Order who have turned to the Empire. I think that'll be really cool if that's explored.
Yeah. I think it's cool, and the idea that it's something so powerful that only Kylo stands. It's cool. I would like to see him with really cool force powers, like we saw in The Force Awakens. He shows up and then he stops that blast, and we're like, wow, you know, it's just so awesome. And I hope we see more of that, and maybe we get something like that.
Yeah, definitely. As for the rest of the photos, there's not really much. I mean, we've seen that picture of Rey in the forest training before at Celebration. Same with the Resistance crew outside the Millennium Falcon in the forest. The rest is just kind of like behind the scenes. It's nice seeing the cast and crew so at ease with JJ and Jonas with his son in the big Chewbacca gear. Yeah. That's pretty cute. There's also that image of Claude, you know, the Resistance's new member, as it's described. Yeah, it just reminds me of like a big spider, like those things on the side of his head. I don't like him.
Yeah, he looks weird. I don't know. I hope they yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of him.
I think it's just a cool alien that they're excited to market about.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe like Maz, I guess.
Maz?
You never know.
Yeah, Mass didn't go very well, right? She's gonna have a role, right? But it's gonna be tiny. But yeah, so let's see what we're gonna see with Claude. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope Maz does come back and has a bit more of a role than she did in The Last Jedi. I think she was a bit wasted in that, so it'll be cool to see her back.
Because it's really cool to see a woman like this wise master, right? But I guess she didn't have a lot of personality, you know. It was something that there was something missing in her, I guess.
Yeah, well, I don't know, like, she kind of felt to me like the Yoda of the sequel trilogy, but ultimately she didn't end up as important. But you never know, with the unreleased footage of Leia, she might have a few scenes with Leia, because in The Force Awakens, I think she was meant to give Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber to her, and they cut that out. So that's something that'll be interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. This on the interview that he said. I think it was JJ that things happened like kind of like by accident or something. That and then why did we have all this footage with Carrie? And I really think that sometimes things happen for a reason, and you know there's this serendipity and things just. And I hope that's the case, because that's when things like that happen, you know, these coincidences, it's usually, I think, a sign that you have something great coming up, and maybe that's episode 9, hopefully.
So moving on from the Empire magazine, there's been some interesting news that's come out today. Firstly, there has been the announcement of the episode 9 novel author by Ray Carson. That is a really cool name, by the way.
Yes.
I think we're I think we're all excited because I think she wrote Most Wanted as well, which was about Han and Kira on the run from pirates. So I think, and she really does like Kylo too. There was a very funny tweet that she put about Kylo's hair looking fabulous. I think a lot of people, from what I've seen, and I'm also very excited about this as well, she really drove into Kira's psyche in the novel, and I think she'll do the same with Rey. So I'm very excited to see what she'll do with these characters.
Yeah, I am excited as well. It's gonna be cool.
And then there was also like an expert from Resistance Reborn, which has just come out by Rebecca Roanhorse. Again, such a cool name. It was about Rey and Leia. I don't know whether you saw this, Denise, but Rey and Leia basically have a conversation about Kylo or Ben, and they both agree that there is hope for Ben to be redeemed, but he has to do it himself. Which is what we've been saying, right?
Exactly what we've been saying. Exactly. Come on. Yeah, but it's really cool because it shows that Leia did not give up on him. It was a little weird in The Last Jedi, but I understand that. I guess it was like for preparing for a reversal in 9. I guess whatever. Yeah, so she still believes in him, and Han still believes in him. He still
Rey does.
And Rey still believes in him. So, yeah, I mean, they're not just gonna have him die, and yeah, I mean, it doesn't make
throw down a pit and die.
Yeah, I mean, no, he could eventually die, but it would be like more meaningful, and he has to fulfill his arc first, which is an arc of redemption and love and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I also liked it because it kind of felt a bit real, like with Rey slamming the door on Kylo. Like, she's angry and she doesn't want to speak to him, and you know, she closes the door, but afterwards, when she's cooled down and really thought about it, she's more hopeful.
Oh yeah, and it also debunks the idea. Some people are like, she closed the door to him, now she's no longer interested in him. It's like, what? Yeah, and it debunks that as well. Yeah,
I mean, this makes me think. I think Rebecca's done a really good job, like with the on the interaction between the two characters, because I wonder if she was given some pointers that maybe this could have been like a scene that was planned if Carrie had lived between the two of them. I think it really would have been lovely, but unfortunately that's not to be. So but it's very nice to have this in a book.
We don't know because they have footage of her, right? And you can do a lot with audio. There is a lot that can be done, I think. So we don't know. We could have a scene like that, and they're gonna be using footage of her. So we don't know what we're gonna see.
I know. I'm very excited, but it'll also be very bittersweet.
Yes, definitely, most definitely.
All right. Anything else, Denise?
Oh, weren't we gonna say something else? Oh, yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the leaks. Can you talk about
go ahead. Yes, I've seen them.
Okay, so it's been a while ago. So we had some leaks from the Jedi Praxis on Reddit, and we had some similar, a little different from Making Star Wars, and it has like a the plot of the movie, but it's basically Kylo chasing Rey around all the time. I was thinking, I've never seen a movie where you repeat this, and then I remembered of Terminator is chasing them and chasing them and chasing them, but it's a completely different dynamics, guys. It doesn't make sense to repeat with the same beat, you know. And so that's one thing. Second thing, they're not acknowledging Reylo in that plot in any way. Like I said, okay, no, if you're anti-Reylo and if you say they're not gonna end up together, fair enough, but you have to, you know, like it has to exist there. And there isn't a lot of Knights of Ren, so there are lots of things that are wrong about it. So I really wouldn't pay attention to it. The only thing that I actually think is true, and it's actually exciting that we saw again Making Star Wars and Jedi Praxis, the idea of a Sith dagger. And this is spoilers, guys. If you don't hear spoilers, because it might be true. And that C-3PO has to learn a Sith language, and that's why he gets red eyes. I actually think it is true, and I actually think it's very exciting that they have. If they're looking for things, and we have these Sith relics, as we've been talking about, right? What do you think, Mary?
Well, first I think that, you know, these leaks, you know, they have chopped and changed quite a bit, and they always seem to come out after some really good pro-Reylo news. So just think about that just for a sec. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, I like the idea of like a Sith artifact. I think that you know, that might be a good way to bring Palpatine back. Like maybe his spirit could be trapped in not necessarily a dagger, but like a holocron or something. Maybe like either Kylo or Rey find it and accidentally release his spirit. That would be it's something I think that would be cool, because it definitely is a good way to bring Palpatine back into the fold, in my opinion.
It would.
As well as a good.
But if it was that, I would rather if it was maybe by people in the First Order or something, or the Empire that had it and did it on purpose. But I agree with
Pride.
you. Yeah.
Pride had it. That'd be so cool. That's what his little First Order stick in that he's holding. Maybe that's it. As for C-3PO, that's a really cool idea. I do like that. But I'm also wondering, you know, there was I don't know whether you know this, but there was an image released of a new creature whose name totally escapes me now. It's kind of like a really little cute mechanic thing, and it has very furry hands. And in one of the trailers, you see very furry hands repairing the mask.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if this little creature will show an image up in the on the video. But I'm wondering if that's like the First Order equivalent of Maz. And if he repairs Kylo's mask, who knows what else he's good with? So maybe he like turns C-3PO into a First Order droid.
Oh, that's kind interesting.
Kind of like I mean, I know it's a bit of a repeat, like with, you know, do you remember C-3PO getting his head stuck on you know, the Separatist droid in Attack of the Clones? But you never know, it could make for some funny moments.
Yeah, so this is cool, and I think usually stuff that can be kind of substantiated with images, with marketing, you can believe. Stuff that doesn't make any sense with the direction they've been going, doesn't make any sense with the marketing, you can pretty much throw away. Also, something interesting is that if you look at all the marketing, JJ is checking all the audience wishes, right? So you get Dark Rey, you get
Palpatine's laugh.
Yeah, even Palpatine, because people had been wanting a big bad that has a relation to the past. There are many things that they're doing that is not fan service in the sense of fan service, but in the sense of crafting a movie that has elements that people like, right? And that plot that was the leak, it has nothing that people like. It's super boring. So it doesn't make sense that they know what the audience wants when it's time to do the marketing, which they've been doing now. It's been on point, everything on point. And they don't know what we want when it's time to write the movie. It just doesn't make any sense.
We've also just like gone through how it's the marketing for Rise of Skywalker has been very, very pro Reylo, like from the day the title was released, and for like the leaks, you know, if for the movie not to include anything of that relationship, despite what the writers have said and despite what the actors have said and the president of Lucasfilm herself has said, yeah, I don't buy it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. If an auntie wants to, if I were an auntie, I would acknowledge the relationship at least, and then make her choose something else, whatever, or make him choose something else, you know. But you have to acknowledge what's there, and so when you see stuff that's leaks or whatever that doesn't make sense, it's usually yarn. Yeah, so it's yarn. And there was an artwork. What was that you showed me? You just showed me. Was it for
it was for the Rise of Kylo Ren comics, which is just come out today at New York Comic Con, with like one half of Kylo and one half of Ben. It was beautiful. It's very exciting because I think they're going to finally show, you know, Ben's relationship into Kylo and what really went down with Luke, as we said in our Rise of Kylo Ren comic episode.
Yeah, and he looks really vulnerable in his Ben Solo, and I think it's nice that they're stripping the layers of Kylo Ren to reveal what's inside, and that bodes really well for redemption, and it means that they want to pave the way for prepare people so that they don't go there thinking that it's gonna be bad and I don't know, die, whatever, so that people don't go to the movie with the wrong impression. People need to know that it's about redemption,
which Star Wars has always been about.
Yeah, it's about love, it's about redemption, and it's about hope and things that, you know, it's good to go to the movies and think about these values and think about these things, yeah.
For sure. One last thing before we sign off, it's been announced that the trailer for Rise of the Skywalker will be out on October 14th.
I'm so excited. I hope it's really good, and I can't wait to see it and dissect it and see, get a little bit more about the movie.
Do you reckon we'll have another Handgate? Do you remember that, Denise?
I remember. I don't think we're gonna have, because it's gonna be repetitive, and it was something that nobody was expecting. Nobody even us, we weren't expecting to be so much clearly Reylo. Let me see. They're gonna have a big surprise, but what is gonna be the surprise?
I'm calling it right now. I reckon it'll be a scene with Palpatine and Rey. Yes. Or even a scene with Palpatine and Dark Rey. That's gonna blow people's minds.
You think Palpatine's going to extend his hand to her?
No, hopefully not.
I'm just kidding. No.
All right.
But I think it's a good call. That something, I know, not romantic, something like dark or something about, or maybe we're gonna get a surprise about Ben. Maybe I think we're gonna have a little surprise, just like we had with the teaser with quote unquote Dark Rey, which we don't even know if it's gonna be in the movie. But that lightsaber, you see. He's following Rian Johnson's steps in that symbology, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I did like that aspect of The Last Jedi. I'll fully admit that.
Yeah.
Right, anything else, Denise?
I think that's it for today.
Okay, well, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. It's a pleasure as always. If you want to subscribe, please hit that like button, it helps us a lot. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr and iTunes. Until the next time, and may the Force serve you well.